What if I told you that 76% of divorces begin with the same silent crisis that most men never see coming? The shocking truth is that right now, millions of seemingly stable marriages are just weeks away from collapse because of 5 critical factors that men are programmed to ignore. Today, I'm revealing what therapists and marriage counselors won't tell you. The real reasons why men who appeared happy and successful suddenly find themselves alone, broken, and starting over at 40, 50, or 60 years old. One viewer told me this information saved him from becoming another divorce statistic just 3 days before his wife was planning to leave. This isn't just another relationship video. This is about saving your marriage and rebuilding your life as a man. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. For those who don't know me, I've spent the last 12 years working with men in crisis, helping them rebuild their lives and relationships after they thought all hope was lost. My own marriage nearly ended a decade ago, and that experience sent me on a journey to discover what really makes the difference between marriages that thrive and those that fall apart. What you're about to learn goes against much of today's popular relationship advice, but these evidence-based factors are transforming marriages that were on the brink of disaster. I'll share exactly how to identify where you stand on each factor, simple steps to make immediate improvements, and how these changes will transform both your personal well-being and your marriage. These insights work whether you've been married for 2 months or 20 years, whether you're currently in a crisis or want to prevent one. The truth is that most relationship problems aren't actually relationship problems at all. They're individual well-being issues that show up in your marriage. Today, we're going deep into the 5 essential factors that determine whether a man will thrive or struggle, and how each factor directly impacts the health of your marriage. Let's dive right in with the first factor, which might surprise you. The first essential factor is emotional intelligence and communication. Here's the devastating truth most relationship experts won't tell you. Men and women communicate fundamentally differently, and telling a man to just talk more about his feelings often makes things worse, not better. Research from the University of Washington shows that men's brains process emotional information through different neural pathways than women's brains. This isn't an excuse, it's biology, and understanding this difference is the first step to transformation. Most men I work with aren't emotionally stunted. They're emotionally overwhelmed but lack the framework to process and express what they're feeling. The result? Communication breakdowns that feel impossible to fix. The key is learning a specific communication approach that works with your brain, not against it. I call it the recognize, process, express framework. First, recognize what you're actually feeling by connecting physical sensations to emotions. Second, process those emotions through your preferred thinking style before trying to verbalize them. Third, express those processed emotions in a way that feels authentic to you. John, a software engineer I worked with, was on the verge of divorce after 17 years of marriage. His wife complained he was emotionally unavailable. Using this framework, he discovered he wasn't unavailable. He was processing emotions through problem-solving rather than verbalization. Once he learned to say things like, "I notice I'm feeling tense about this situation. I need to think about it for 20 minutes. Then I want to share my thoughts," their communication transformed. His wife felt included in his process rather than shut out. The simple daily practice I recommend is spending just 3 minutes each morning identifying one emotion you're feeling and its intensity on a scale of 1 to 10. This small habit builds the neural pathways for emotional awareness that transform your communication without feeling forced or unnatural. The second factor that's critical for men's well-being and stronger marriages is having a clear purpose and identity beyond your relationship. This might sound counterintuitive, but research from Stanford University found that men who maintain a strong sense of purpose separate from their relationship actually have higher marital satisfaction scores. Here's the hidden truth. When a man loses his sense of purpose, it creates a void that silently destroys his well-being and eventually his marriage. Modern work environments often leave men feeling interchangeable and without meaningful impact. Many men then turn to their relationships to provide all their sense of meaning and purpose. This creates an unhealthy dynamic where you expect your partner to be your entire source of fulfillment, a burden no relationship can sustain. Your brain is wired to need meaningful challenge and contribution. When that need isn't met, it affects your mood, energy, and presence in ways that inevitably harm your relationship. The solution isn't complicated, but it requires intention. Start by asking yourself these 3 questions. What activities make you lose track of time? What contribution would make you proud at the end of your life? What skills or knowledge do you uniquely possess that could benefit others? These questions reveal pathways to purpose that align with your natural inclinations. Michael, a 52-year-old account manager, discovered that teaching financial literacy to young people gave him the sense of impact his job lacked. As he reconnected with this purpose, his wife noticed he became more confident, present, and less reactive to small frustrations. She told him, "It's like I got the man I married back again." The surprising connection here is that purpose creates presence, and presence is what nurtures intimacy in your marriage. The third essential factor is physical well-being and vitality. Now, I'm not just talking about looking good. I'm talking about how your physical state directly impacts your emotional resilience and relationship dynamics. Groundbreaking research from the University of California found that men with declining testosterone and increasing cortisol levels reported 63% more relationship conflicts. Your physical well-being isn't separate from your relationship. It's the foundation that determines how you show up every day. Most advice about getting in shape misses the crucial connection between physical health and relationship satisfaction. It's not about six-pack abs. It's about the energy, confidence, and emotional stability that comes from proper physical care. There are 4 non-negotiable physical practices that directly impact marital happiness: quality sleep, stress management, nutritional basics, and consistent movement. Each of these affects your hormonal balance, which in turn affects your patience, presence, and resilience under stress, all critical for healthy relationships. Take sleep, for example. When you're sleep-deprived, your amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, becomes 60% more reactive, while your prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thinking, shows decreased activity. This means small disagreements that you could normally handle calmly become major triggers. David, a 47-year-old father of 3, was convinced his marriage problems were about communication. But when he committed to improving his sleep quality by establishing a consistent bedtime routine and removing electronics from the bedroom, the frequency of arguments with his wife dropped by half within 2 weeks. He told me, "I'm responding rather than reacting now, and my wife says it's like having a different husband." The body-mind connection isn't mystical, it's neurological, and small physical habits create massive ripple effects in your relationship. The fourth factor that's essential for men's well-being and stronger marriages is establishing healthy boundaries and embracing positive masculine strength. There's a dangerous myth that compromise means always giving in to keep the peace. This leads to what researchers call self-silencing, repeatedly suppressing your own needs and opinions, which is strongly linked to depression in men and decreased relationship satisfaction for both partners. What's really happening is a confusion about boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls that keep people out. They're the standards you maintain about how you'll be treated and what you expect from yourself and others. The psychological reason why nice guy behavior often leads to relationship dissatisfaction is because it's usually fear-based, not strength-based. When you agree to things you resent later, or avoid necessary conflict to keep the peace, you're actually demonstrating uncertainty about your worth, not kindness. Women instinctively sense this difference between avoidance and true strength. Mark, a high school teacher who described himself as a people pleaser, was shocked when his wife told him she was considering leaving because she couldn't respect someone who never stood for anything. Together, we worked on establishing clear, healthy boundaries, starting with simple statements like, "I need to think about that before I commit, and I'm not comfortable with that plan." The transformation was remarkable. Not only did his wife respond positively to these boundaries, but their intimacy deepened because genuine respect returned to the relationship. The counterintuitive truth is that strong, healthy boundaries create safety that allows for deeper connection. Your partner can't fully trust someone who doesn't know where they stand or what they believe in. True masculine strength isn't about dominance. It's about clarity, consistency, and the courage to be truthful even when it's difficult. The fifth essential factor for men's well-being and stronger marriages is developing a growth mindset and creating a shared vision with your partner. Neurological research shows that the human brain craves novelty and progress. When relationships become stagnant, they trigger the same brain regions associated with physical pain. This is why couples who stop growing together inevitably grow apart. A 20-year study from Gottman Institute found that couples who regularly discuss and update their shared dreams and goals have 94% higher relationship satisfaction than those who don't. Many men fall into what I call the comfort trap, believing that once you've made it with career, house, and family, the goal is to maintain stability. But stability without growth is stagnation, and stagnation is relationship poison. Your brain is wired to seek challenge and improvement. When that drive isn't channeled positively within your relationship, it either dies, leading to depression, or seeks fulfillment elsewhere, leading to midlife crisis behaviors. The solution is creating what psychologists call collaborative growth, the practice of continually evolving both as individuals and as a couple. Robert and his wife were considering separation after 14 years together when they began the practice of growth conversations, monthly discussions about what they were learning, where they felt stuck, and what new experiences they wanted to pursue. They created a shared vision board that included individual goals and couple aspirations. Within 6 months, they reported feeling like they were dating again because they were discovering new aspects of each other through their individual growth. The surprising benefit of embracing productive discomfort is that it creates renewed curiosity about your partner. When you're both evolving, you never stop discovering each other, which keeps the relationship fresh and engaging over decades, not just years. Now let's talk about how to implement these 5 factors in a way that's manageable and effective. I've developed a 30-day framework that addresses 1 factor per week, with the 5th week for integration. You'll start by taking the free assessment available through the link in the description to determine your current standing on each factor. This will reveal which areas need immediate attention and which are your natural strengths. The key is understanding that these factors aren't separate. They form an interconnected system that supports both your well-being and your marriage. Most men make the mistake of trying to change everything at once, which leads to frustration and giving up. Instead, I recommend focusing on 1 factor per week, starting with the one that scored lowest on your assessment. For each factor, choose just 1 small, specific action to implement daily. For emotional intelligence, it might be the 3-minute emotion check-in. For purpose, it might be spending 20 minutes on a purposeful activity. For physical well-being, it might be improving sleep by establishing a consistent bedtime routine. For boundaries, it might be practicing 1 clear yes or no without over-explaining. For growth mindset, it might be learning something new for 15 minutes each day. The most common obstacle men face is finding time for these practices. The solution is integration, not addition. Incorporate these habits into existing routines rather than creating entirely new ones. Another challenge is partner resistance if they're used to your old patterns. I recommend sharing your intentions by saying something like, I'm working on being a better version of myself, and I'd appreciate your support. I might make mistakes along the way, but I'm committed to this process. This invites their support without creating pressure for them to change. Warning signs that indicate a factor needs immediate attention include recurring arguments about the same issue, feeling restless or trapped, constant fatigue or irritability, resentment that builds after interactions, or boredom and disconnection. By addressing these warning signs through the specific practices I've outlined, you can prevent small issues from becoming relationship-threatening crises. Let's recap the 5 essential factors we've covered today. First, emotional intelligence and communication, learning to recognize and express emotions in a way that works with your natural thinking style. Second, purpose and identity beyond your relationship, finding meaningful challenge and contribution that fills your cup so you can be fully present with your partner. Third, physical well-being and vitality, nurturing the body-mind connection that affects your patience, presence, and resilience. Fourth, healthy boundaries and masculine strength, establishing clear standards that create respect and safety in your relationship. And fifth, growth mindset and shared vision, continuously evolving individually and together to keep your relationship alive and engaging. These factors aren't just nice-to-haves, they're the fundamental elements that determine whether you'll thrive or struggle as a man, and whether your marriage will strengthen or deteriorate over time. Imagine waking up each day with a clear sense of purpose, physical energy, emotional balance, personal integrity, and excitement about your shared future. This isn't a fantasy. It's what happens when these 5 factors align. Now imagine the alternative, continuing on your current path if these factors are missing or weak. The gap between these 2 futures grows wider with each passing year. The good news is that small, consistent changes produce remarkable results. I've seen men transform decades of relationship patterns in just months by focusing on these fundamentals. To help you get started immediately, I've created a complete men's well-being and marriage strength blueprint that you can download using the link in the description. It includes specific daily practices for each factor, troubleshooting guides for common challenges, and tracking tools to measure your progress. I also invite you to join our private community of men who are implementing these changes and supporting each other through the process. In next week's video, I'll be diving deeper into advanced techniques for the factor that received the most interest from today's discussion. Thank you for investing this time in yourself and your marriage. Remember, the quality of your life as a man is inseparable from the quality of your relationships, and both begin with how you show up each day. I believe in your capacity to transform, and I'm honored to be part of your journey. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on men's well-being and stronger relationships. Check out my related videos on each of the 5 factors in more depth. And for first-time subscribers, get my exclusive guide to rebuilding trust in your marriage completely free.